Hello and welcome to my attempt at drawing the supposedly fastest fish on our planet, the sailfish. By the end of this project, I'm looking to have a piece that combines scientific information with artistic principles in order to create something that's hopefully both educational and pleasing to look at. Let's get to work. With my research notes at hand and plenty of reference images in sight, I'm starting the project with a simple morphological sketch. This has two main objectives. First, I'm looking to familiarize myself with the general proportions of the sailfish. As my base measurement, I'm taking the maximum height of the head without the sail. After measuring a couple of reference images, I'm settling on a ratio of 8:1, meaning the total length of the sailfish is, in this case, 8 times the maximum height of its head. This is not a set-in-stone rule. Obviously, different specimens of adult sailfish will vary in size and weight. This ratio is just to give me an idea of what a believable sailfish looks like. In terms of real-life size and weight, the average values can vary depending on the location the sailfish lives in. But to give you a general sense of the scale we are looking at, lengthwise, most adult sailfish seem to grow somewhere in the range of 1.3 to 2.3 meters, rarely over 3 meters, and rarely weigh over 90 kilograms. The second objective of this sketch is to help me identify and organize the defining elements of this animal. One of the main things the sailfish is known for is its distinctive and quite large first dorsal fin, i.e. sail. We also have the elongated nostrum or bill and the two pelvic fins. All of these play an important role in the swimming speed and hunting behavior of the sailfish. Finally, I'm adding a couple more comparative measurements with some written notes for clarity, and that's about it for this quick study. Now, since I don't want my final piece to depict this generic flat side view, I'm moving on to the process of finding a nice dynamic pose for our sailfish. In order to explore multiple options, I'm using a gesture drawing exercise that I learned in the Drawing Basics course by Stan Prokopenko. In this case, I'm sketching with a colored pencil since its waxy texture allows me to be more loose with my lines, perfect for capturing the agility and speed of this incredible animal. During my research, however, I discovered that the sailfish is caught in a bit of a controversy when it comes to its swimming speed. The sailfish was widely believed to be the fastest fish on Earth, with previous estimates placing its maximum swimming speed at 125 kilometers an hour. However, it looks like these values were most likely overestimated. More recent studies seem to demonstrate that sailfish do not exceed maximum speeds of 55 kilometers an hour. It was difficult to find a definitive answer on this. Many sources either contain outdated information or there is something that I'm missing. But regardless of what the actual top speed is, there is no doubt about it, the sailfish is a very fast swimmer. And that is the essence of what I'm trying to capture here. After sketching a few variations, I'm settling on a pose that I think not only emphasizes this idea of speed, but also gives us a nice, clear view of the sailfish's defining morphological elements. Next up is the thumbnailing part of this project. And after forgetting to press record for my first attempt, I'm doing this step again. The second time, I'm including a border for the entire drawing and 2 blocks for the name and taxonomy of our subject. This is something I picked up from the technical drawings I did during my engineering days. Given the type of drawing I'm going for, I think the added structure provided by the frame fits this project quite well. Another reason why I wanted to make a thumbnail first was because I intend on having lots of additional smaller elements all over the page, which is why it's important for me to go in with a pretty solid idea of where everything goes. I not only want to include information about the iconic sail of the sailfish, but also want to touch upon the functions of the pelvic fins, the sailfish eggs, its larval stage, and the incredibly fascinating hunting behavior of this animal. Alright, so far we have a proportion/morphology study, a nice dynamic pose for our subject, and we know where to place everything on the page. Now it's time for our main drawing. In this case, I'm using a larger A3 paper, and I'll start by lightly sketching the various elements in their respective place. I'm really taking my time here, erasing as much as needed until I'm happy with the initial lay-in. After this step, I'm moving on to the final line work. While I'm doing this, allow me to share with you some more details about this intriguing animal. The sailfish is found in the equatorial regions of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Ocean. It's an apex predator that eats mainly smaller fish and cephalopods. Besides the controversy regarding its swimming speed, the sailfish is caught in a second dispute, this time regarding the number of species. Depending on who you ask, there is either 1 or 2 species of sailfish. These would be the Indo-Pacific sailfish, Istiophorus platypterus, and the Atlantic sailfish, Istiophorus albicans. The reason for this dispute seems to be related to things like differences in mitochondrial DNA, meristics, morphometry, and since these aspects are not my field of expertise, I'm just going to leave a full set of references in the description of the video for anyone who wants to dive deeper into the subject. Now, we already went over the impressive speed of the sailfish, and one major contributing factor to it seems to be its ability to retract and extend its first dorsal fin. A retracted dorsal fin reduces drag during swimming, while an extended one increases stability, which is useful during hunting. And speaking of hunting, sailfish hunting groups, which is where the elongated nostrum comes in. It was discovered that during predation, sailfish are able to insert their bill into schools of fish without being detected, and either tap on individual targets or slash through the entire school. Tapping has the goal of destabilizing a single target in order to facilitate an easier capture. Slashing has the goal of inflicting damage to multiple fish, which should enable other sailfish from the group to have an easier time catching the wounded prey. If we zoom in on the elongated nostrum, we see an abrasive texture present on the lateral sides as well as on the underside. The theory here is that this abrasive texture aids the sailfish in the capture of prey during tapping and may increase the damage done during slashing. The sailfish is also able to retract and extend its pelvic fins. This again reduces drag in the retracted position and increases stability when extended. Compared to the size of an adult, newly spawned sailfish eggs are unbelievably small. They range somewhere between 0.9 to 1.4 millimeters in diameter. And newly hatched larval sailfish barely average 2 millimeters in length. Growth, however, happens at an incredible rate in the first year of life, with some juvenile sailfish being able to reach a length of 1.4 meters in their first 6 months. Just imagine, from 2 millimeters to 1.4 meters in 6 months. Incredible! A summarized version of everything I told you so far about the sailfish is also going on the page. This attempt at some form of calligraphy was incredibly challenging, but in the end I think it turned out decent. And this is it, the culmination of my current drawing skills. Obviously there's still plenty of room for improvement. I really tried to apply everything I learned so far, line quality, shape design, gesture and structure, to make this as appealing as possible. But above all else, I hope that this drawing manages to convey at least some of the beauty and complexity emanated by this incredible animal. Thank you for watching. Until next time.